Tonight on Golf Central, playoff drama ensues at the PGA Tour's first playoff event. Jordan and DJ went toe-to-toe, but what does the result mean for each player? We discuss. Speaking of DJ, when he's on, he's tough to tame. Our experts tell you how the top-ranked player in the world stacks up with some of golf's greats. Plus, 25 Web.com players earned their shot on the big stage for next season. But which big names will need to rely on a second chance? Those questions and answers are next on Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Big news today involving former FedEx Cup champion Henrik Stenson. According to the Associated Press, Stenson withdrew from the Dell Technologies Championship later this week outside of Boston, citing tightness in his knee. TPC Boston was a critical victory for Stenson in his run to the Cup. In 2013, the Swede is currently ranked 22nd in the standings and now brings the field this week to 96. With that, we say hello. Lisa Cornwell, Billy Kratzer, Matt Adams, and Tim Rosafort will join us in just a moment. While Stenson is a big story for the week ahead, it was all about DJ and Jordan yesterday in New York. Let's take you back to Sunday's dramatic showdown between these two players. Billy, Jordan at the par 3 17. This is a huge putt. He knows what's on the line.
And no one had made that putt all day, and a little bit of a wiggle there by Jordan, sneaks it in on the left-hand side. That was huge.
Kidding me. He remains tied for the lead. Now DJ at 18, this for par to force a playoff.
Yeah, and referencing the yardage book a couple of different times, and then the punch through by DJ.
You don't see that kind of reaction from him that often. It's worth another look at it. Let's go to the first playoff hole. DJ doing DJ things right here.
I was not looking left, but when I saw Pro Tracer right there and he went down and grabbed the tee that quickly, all I could think of is, how did you see that line? How did you possibly see that line?
And how great is the camera work here? You can see where DJ's getting his numbers and then where Jordan is playing from in the fairway about 100 yards back.
Yeah, and after laying up on the 72nd hole, kind of had a feel for the shot because it was almost the same distance, but coming up that big at that critical moment, DJ back.
He would make a birdie and win the Northern Trust. Look, when you're Jordan Spieth and you're watching that happen, all you can do is just shake the man's hand. I mean, incredible, gutsy performance for him down the stretch as we take a look at the best proximity to the hole by the winner. That's on the PGA Tour this season. You can see only Grayson Murray did it better. But Dustin Johnson, how about that? Just able to dial it in with the iron play.
Yeah, and I think the work that he's done over the past few seasons with the wedge, it's resonated throughout the bag, Lisa.
Let's hear from world number one in his own words.
I knew I was swinging really well. I was hitting everything very good. A lot of times I was hitting it close to the hole, so I knew it was going to be a day where I just needed to go out and do the same thing I've been doing the first 3 days, which is driving in the fairway and, you know, keep giving myself good looks at birdie, and that's what I did all day. It's been a tough road to get back here. I felt like leading into Augusta, I was playing the best golf that I've ever played. You know, really solid, steady golf. Nothing too fancy, just playing really steady, which is what I did this week. You know, I drove it good. I hit good shots. You know, never really got in trouble. You know, I just felt like the golf swing's finally back to where it was. I feel like I've got control over it. I'm controlling the golf ball, controlling my distances very well, and you know, I played really solid every day this whole week. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of my wins, usually I've just had to like 2-putt on 18, or you know, had an easy go at it. This was the first one I really had to work at. It was good to make the putt, you know, especially when I really needed to make one. It felt really good. I was definitely very excited. This is probably the most excited I've been on a golf course in a while. That was the first time that I really had to work hard for my win.
Sunday's victory in New York was number 16 of Dustin Johnson's remarkable PGA Tour career. Since his first year on tour in 2008, he's second in total wins, trailing only some guy named Tiger Woods. DJ's 4 wins this season, their career high, surpassing his 3 titles last year. We've said it so many times, you know, we love this discussion, Billy, of when they're on, and that being Rory, DJ, Jordan, Jason Day, who's the toughest to beat. But we talk about him in a different way just because he has this firepower that we don't see from a lot of players, but he's been hurt. We know what happened in the Masters. Do you think that it was just him overcoming that injury?
Well, I really do. And I had the opportunity to talk to Claude Harmon III and Butch Harmon. And actually, the first time that Dustin felt good for 4 straight days consecutively was at the RBC Canadian Open. And he played well there. And that's when he started seeing the results. That's when everything just started upticking just a little bit. But right now, after that win yesterday, you can just see a different DJ, and you can kind of see that the way that he's kind of carrying himself around the golf course and the way that he's moving, he's back to the way that he was playing when he won the WGCs and those 3 golf tournaments in a row.
So is a healthy DJ once again the man to beat?
Healthy DJ is a guy, he's the man. He's the guy to beat.
Not even close.
I don't think so. I think because he has so much control, and he kept referencing, when I feel good, when I feel good. And when he feels good, he is the guy to beat. No question. What
about the putting? Because we like to talk about his driving, and we're going to talk about that later in the show, some numbers you'll want to hear. But when the putter's on, like what we saw, especially over the weekend, how impressive is he from tee to green and on the green?
Well, you saw how confident he was with the putter, and the fact that he went back to that Anser-style putter, I think, is going to be a huge benefit for Dustin Johnson. I think he feels comfortable. That's what he won his major championship with. So going forward, and as we race through these FedEx Cup playoffs and we get to the President's Cup, Dustin Johnson is the guy.
Jordan Spieth may disagree with you on that, and, you know, for good reason. He's had quite the season. Let's go back to him, though, yesterday. Here's Jordan of the par 3-6. He had a 5-shot lead at this point. He had to back off. He's discussing it with his caddy, Michael Greller. So he resets and now hits a tee shot. This is 176, and you can see something was in his head. He leaves this one short. It ended up in the water, and Spieth would make a double bogey and definitely a swing in the momentum. Let's hear from Spieth on what happened.
As we battle it out, you know, when he made his putt on 10, which I think tied it, that's when I said, okay, we got a bunch of wedge holes here. You know, I expect him to go a couple under coming in. Therefore, I've got to step up to the plate now and deliver a couple birdies myself, and was able to do that. We were talking to each other the first 9 holes. We had a really tough time trying to figure out what the ball was going to do on the greens. Some greens were landing really soft, and then others were just taking one massive hop. And the fairways were so firm that you were hitting off of, it makes you think the greens are going to be that firm. We both came up short on most of the holes we played on the front 9 until we started to kind of fire to it on 10. I think the way that it played out, if I were a fan, I would have been, you know, obviously very pleased with the way this tournament went. But, you know, it's very difficult holding a lead on a difficult golf course when the guy you're playing with goes bogey free and doesn't even really sniff a bogey and shoots 4 under. So, you know, hats off to DJ, but no surprise either.
He definitely understood exactly what he was facing, and again, giving DJ kudos. Well, it's an extremely rare occurrence for Jordan Spieth not to win when having a 54-hole lead. Since the 2015 Masters began, Spieth has held the lead or co-lead, entering the final round on the PGA Tour 11 times. The only 2 times he failed to convert those into wins in that span were the 2016 Masters and yesterday in the Northern Trust. An interesting side note here, in each of those instances, he built as much as a 5-shot lead during the final round. For more on Spieth, let's go over to 2 of the best in the biz, Matt Adams, Tim Rosafort.
Lisa, thank you very much, sitting alongside of Tim Rosafort. To put those numbers that you're just talking about into a statistical number, it would be nearly 82% as a closure rate for Jordan Spieth when he has a share or sole possession of the lead through 54 holes. The PGA Tour average for the same is just under 28%. 8%. So let's take a look at some of the numbers from yesterday and throughout the course of the Northern Trust, because I think it tells the story of what happened to Jordan Spieth. And there you can see in round one, negative 1.7 in strokes gained putting. I know that's probably a shocking stat, Tim, for many people to see. He got progressively better through rounds 2 and 3 when he shot 65 and 64. Then in the final round, he went down to 1.0. Still positive, but off by the other two round standards. Here's the stat that I think is most interesting, though. His greens in regulation, which he and Cameron McCormick have worked so hard on throughout the course of this season and coming into this season at that, almost 70% on the PGA Tour this season. He's 5th in that category. 55% in that final round yesterday, as compared to an average which was well above that through the first 3 rounds. What are your thoughts about Jordan?
Well, there's a trend developing for this Hall of Famer to be, and there's no doubt that he'll be in the Hall of Fame. But at this point in time, he just plays better when it's tight, and he gets tight when he's big leads. And they're all in different circumstances. The Masters, 5-shot lead, that was because it was the Masters. He was trying to go back-to-back. You think about yesterday, it was really more the pressure that Dustin applied to him. And you could just see that in his post-round quotes and also in the way he played golf. And then you just go back to the Open Championship as well. He started that day with a 3-shot lead, and he didn't really start playing that like the Jordan Spieth that we know until like the game was tied, and he had to make that unbelievable bogey and flip the thing around. So stuff that he needs to work on, I'm sure. I don't know if it's between his head or if it's on the ground as it relates to the shots he hits. But, you know, this is a situation where he better get used to Dustin Johnson being in his grill, because as long as he's not slipping on wood staircases, you can count on one thing, and he's going to be able to take balls over that corner of that water hazard like he did. He's starting to putt a little bit like Spieth, just at the right time, as he showed yesterday, and that short game is real underrated. So there's a lot of work to do for Jordan, not to stay up with Dustin. I mean, let's face it, Jordan's a great player, but this is just an element that he's going to improve on, and he knows it as much as anybody else.
We're only 2 weeks into the FedEx Cup playoffs, so let's see where players are right now for those that have gone on to win. There you can see FedEx Cup playoff position of the winners since 2011. Very interesting to take a look at that. Lisa, we send it back over to you.
Thank you, Matt. That was only the 3rd time in PGA Tour history where a sitting world #1 faced off against a former world #1 at a playoff. Let's take a look back at the other 2 times it's happened. We're going to start in the year 2000, Billy. Tiger Woods for Eagle at 18 in the Tournament of Champions.
I think we've seen that movie before, that fist pump.
Time and time again. Ernie Els for Eagle at 18.
Yeah, when you reflect back to the 4-time major champion, what he's done, and going toe-to-toe with Tiger Woods, unbelievable.
Let's go to the 2nd playoff hole. Woods putting for birdie.
Well, and trying to figure this out, no one's had better speed throughout their career than Tiger Woods. I don't know how many times you can fist pump like that, Lisa.
Perfect speed, perfect line, perfect combination. Els trying to make the playoff last a little longer.
Comes up just a little bit short, and 2 great warriors going at it and smiling at one another.
How about 1995, the World Series of Golf at Firestone? Greg Norman in the clubhouse at 2 under. Nick Price to win at 18.
Well, breaking to his left and just a little too much speed, and ouch, Nick, ouch.
You know, we're flashing back. Did you notice the spike marks
from
the old spike days?
Late in the day, the sun, you see everything, Lisa, and Billy Mayfair can't believe he misses that one.
So those guys are smiling. It's forcing a playoff with both of them. Let's go to the first playoff hole. Norman, this is his 3rd from just off the green.
Well, no one was any better than Norman. Just kind of taking the club a little bit less loft and just kind of getting it on the ground and rolling it, and yeah.
Win number 17 that would become at the time in Greg Norman's career. It's interesting, each time this has happened where the current world #1 has faced off, former world #1 has faced off, the current #1 has prevailed. Sunday was DJ's 16th PGA Tour title, but it's the first time he's ever won in a playoff. Well, Michelle Wie was forced to withdraw Sunday morning in Canada after successfully having her appendix removed. We find out her chances of playing in the year's final major coming up. Plus, Dustin Johnson dominates with the driver. We count down his top 5 drives later in the show. You don't want to miss that. And this one is tough to top. We take a look at the best moments from the month of June. What could possibly rival Jordan's bunker magic in the Travelers? Our June moments are on the way. You're watching Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Choose the best for your game. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.